The winter night was a wolf's mouth, swallowing the world in darkness, and inside the dripping throat of the glacial cave. 4 men sat waiting. They were raiders. Men of low honor gathered around a dying fire. Their hands were stained with grease, counting stolen silver, furs, and amber beads. They did not share the loot, for they waited for the 5th wolf, the one who lagged behind. Footsteps crunched on the frozen snow outside, heavy and slow. The 5th man entered, shaking the snow from his bear fur cloak. On his shoulder he carried a heavy sack, wriggling with life. He threw the sack to the stone floor, and out spilled a girl, fair of face, with hair like spun gold. She had a mark on her cheek, a pink scar shaped like a rune of joy. The raider grinned, showing yellow teeth. No gold warms the bed like a woman, a brother's. The men laughed, a sound like stones grinding together, all except one. He sat in the shadows, a man of 40 winters, with skin weather-beaten and dark. He was Einar, known as the Lame, for he leaned heavily on a crutch of carved ashwood. His eyes were sharp, like a hawk spotting a mouse in the snow. Einar spoke, his voice deep and gravelly like a shifting glacier. We are thieves, but we are men of the north, and men do not force women. He stood up, the wood of his crutch creaking against the stone. With a limping gait, he approached the girl, dragging his wooden leg. He knelt before her and pulled the gag from her mouth. Peace, child. I am Einar. What is your name? She trembled, her breath misting in the cold air. I am Thyra. Please do not let them hurt me. Einar smiled, and a deep scar on his cheek twisted, revealing a hidden kindness. None shall touch you. Thyra, you will return to your hearthfire. The 5th raider, the one who brought her, stepped forward with a hand on his axe. If you do not want your share, Einar, then step aside, he sneered, spitting on the ground. Why else do women exist, if not to warm the warriors? The others laughed again, their eyes hungry and cruel. Einar looked at them, disgust burning in his chest. If that is your logic, bring your own mothers here. Bring your sisters. The laughter died instantly, replaced by a cold silence. One of the men stood up, his hand gripping the hilt of his sword. Watch your tongue, cripple, or I will cut off your other leg and beat you with it. Einar did not flinch, though he knew he was outnumbered. Let her go. The gods watch us, and Odin favors the honorable, but their hearts were frozen, blinded by lust and greed. The leader drew his blade, the steel singing a song of death in the cave. Leave, Einar. If you wish to see another sunrise, Einar knew they did not bluff, and he knew his balance was poor. Yet he pulled the girl behind him, shielding her with his broken body. He drew his rusted axe, planting his feet as best he could. If you want her, you must climb over my corpse first. The 4 men roared, raising their weapons to strike him down. But before the steel could bite, the shadows of the cave seemed to move. A sudden heat filled the air, smelling of burnt pine and ancient magic. The 4 attackers froze, then collapsed, falling like puppets with cut strings. They hit the ground with a heavy thud, unconscious or dead. Einar blinked, confused by the sudden silence in the dim light of the dying fire. He saw a figure standing over them. It was a woman, but not of his kind. She wore a cloak of shadows, and her face was pale as the moon. But her eyes were hazels, burning with an inner fire like molten amber. She smelled of the deep forest, of resin and secrets. Einar opened his mouth to speak, to thank the strange Valkyrie, but before he could draw a breath, she dissolved into smoke. She vanished, leaving only the scent of pine and the heat of a summer day. Signy returned to the Ironwood, moving like a ghost through the mist. Signy returned to the Ironwood, moving like a ghost through the mist, although the forest was crawling with sentries. The watchers of the clan. She slipped past them. She moved like smoke, unseen by the eyes of the guards, until she reached the Black Keep. This was the home of her kin, the fire elves. Hidden deep within the frozen trees, she felt the thrill of victory, for no one had seen her leave or return. She climbed the stone stairs to her chamber, eager for the warmth of her furs. But the moment she pushed the heavy oak door open, her blood turned to ice. Someone was waiting for her, sitting by the hearth fire. It was Hilda, her mother, seated on a throne of wolf pelts, looking both weary and furious. Her voice cut through the air, sharp as a winter gale. You disobeyed my command, and went to the lands of men again. Signy closed the door quickly behind her, and whispered with a pleading gaze, "Lower your voice, mother. Father will hear you. Let him hear. For what you have done cannot be buried in the snow." Signy tried to calm the storm, stepping closer to the hearth. "Peace, mother. The matter does not need such anger. I saved 4 lives. They would have harmed a girl if I had not acted." Hilda stood up, her eyes flashing with ancient heat. "You are not a Valkyrie, forged from cloud and light, tasked with saving mortals. You are firekin, your blood is magma, and the giants are your ancestors. We are not guardians of the weak. We are the keepers of the flame. The threads of fate are woven tight. Mother, kindness given is kindness returned." The words sounded strange to Hilda, alien to their ancient ways. She shook her head, disgust curling her lip. "You speak the weak philosophy of humans. Their softness has infected you." Hilda walked toward the door, her footsteps heavy on the stone. "Your father must put an end to this madness before you doom us all. Please, no. Do not let his wrath fall upon me." Hilda paused, her hand on the iron latch, swaying between anger and love. "I will keep your secret. If you swear by the roots of the world, never to visit them again, I can promise that I will not interfere in their wars again." Hilda softened, her maternal instinct warring with her pride. "Humans are dangerous, my daughter. They fear what they do not understand. I love you, Signy, and I do not wish to see you hunted like a beast. Swear to me, and your father will know nothing of this night." Signy looked down, unable to lie to the woman who bore her cone. I cannot make a promise that I am not sure I can keep. Hilda almost lost her temper, her knuckles white on the door handle, but she took a deep breath, forcing a mask of calm. You are beautiful, Signy, the pride of the Ironwood. Every lord of the Firekin desires you, but none will wed a woman who smells of mortals. Then let them stay away. I do not wish to marry and end up like you and father. The words were a dagger, striking deep into Hilda's heart. She turned, her face twisted with a mix of hurt and fury. Stubborn. Your head is harder than the granite of the mountains. I must have been cursed by a troll to birth a mule instead of a daughter. Signy stifled a laugh, knowing that laughter would only fan the flames. Hilda opened the door, looking back one last time. From this moment on, your father will deal with you. The truth was, the bond between Hilda and Brander was strained, thin as old ice. He had exiled her from the clan once before, yet he never forbade her from seeing their child. Signy remained in her room, fortifying herself with hope. She prayed to the old spirits that her mother's words were just an empty threat. But her hope vanished, shattered by a roar from the great hall, the shout of her father booming like thunder across the valley.